in day 148 of the income stream. If you're watching the replay, hashtag team replay in the comments. If you're here with me live today, say hello to your fellow Quaranteam here. Today we're talking about something that was actually a result of the members here of the YouTube channel expressing their ideas of what they'd like to see here on the income stream. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. We're talking specifically about what I would do if I had a day job, and how would I, if I now know what I know now, but I was quote unquote stuck in a day job and wasn't let go in 2008 like I was, what would I do? What actions would I take? Who would I talk to? What approach would I have so that I could eventually get my way out of that and into a business of my own? So a lot to talk about. In fact, we're going to talk about 10 specific areas that we need to cover in order to best position ourselves for success down the road. This is not a get-rich-quick thing. This is not a tomorrow quit and start your business type thing. In fact, if you have a day job, the last thing I'm going to tell you is you need to quit. I will say, however, that getting laid off definitely lit a fire under me, but we're going to light a fire under you in other different ways, because we need to also have some financial security too as we go along. Yes, you should have a nest egg and whatever you can have so that you can give yourself some room to be a little bit risky, because it is a little bit of a risk. But you know what's also risky? Staying at a job that you're unhappy with, or considering that the job that you have is completely secure. That's what I thought. Then I got let go, went through a little depression, but thankfully came out much better on the other end. And I celebrate my let go day every year. June 17th, 2008 was the day. And I'm here to talk about it with you. So let's do this. Thanks and welcome to the income stream.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream, all while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Flynn.
Right, yo. Woo! I hope you are excited about today, because hopefully this helps even just one person in their journey from maybe a job that they feel stuck in, or you might be unhappy with, or just you're ready for something new. I want to help you out. I have 12 years of entrepreneurial experience. If you don't know who I am, my name is Flynn, here to help you make more money, save more time, and help more people too. Laid off in 2008 from my architecture job, a dream job that I absolutely loved. Took a number of months, but worked really, really hard to get to the point where I was able to launch a business to help people in the architecture space who still had their job pass an architectural exam called the LEED exam. Late 2008, I launched that. It went really well, and I've been sharing my insights about business, and not just that business, which is now on autopilot, but several other businesses that I've started over time. Currently, my best and most interesting experiment is a physical product. Many of you know that I have a physical product business now called the Switch Pod. It's a tripod. I'm not going to talk about it here, but it's so amazing how once you realize what's possible and what you are capable of, you then get the confidence to do and try other things. And that's the pattern I found. But it's at the start that makes it the hardest thing to do. Yo, we got a couple members in the house. Sabby BG, welcome. Thank you so much for joining Team Gold. Bruh to you. Thank you so much. And Karma with the $5 super chat right there, right on cue. Thank you so much, Karma. I appreciate you and your support, and loved all the ideas that the members, who you see here in green text as their name, and they also get access to special emojis. Members, if you have a favorite emoji that we have so far, we have more coming out to you, but feel free to share your favorite one right now as I continue on and get started here with the 10 things that we're going to talk about. And lastly, if you haven't yet done so, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because we got some great videos coming your way. And this show is live every morning, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. All you have to do is remember this link right here, patflynn.com/theincomestream. Thank you so much. All right. So, number one, we need to start with what's most important when it comes to this idea of wanting to move on to something else from our 9-to-5 job. We need to, number one, communicate with the loved ones around us about how we are feeling. I cannot stress enough how often overlooked this is, but also how important it is. You need support, because if immediately you start trying things and then you start to see the loved ones around you or the people around you start telling you, no, don't do that, get a real job. In fact, that's what I felt. My dad was telling me I should go get a master's degree in architecture, which I didn't want to do. I had dedicated my life to architecture, and it got me kicked out, even though I did everything perfect. I needed control. I wanted to take control for myself, and that was unable to happen. Paximus, thank you for all you do, Pat. Grateful for you and the great community here. You have helped me tremendously. That's from you, and that goes to, as we all know this month, we are supporting PolarisProject.org, which is helping those who are suffering from human trafficking and to try and put an end to that absolutely just terrible situation. So thank you so much for all the donations this month. And we're already more than halfway. Are we more than halfway through? I think we're more than halfway through the month, which is insane. And we've got, a load of donations already. And my family and I are going to be matching that as well and sending that over to PolarisProject.org. So thank you so much for that. But yes, communication, support. And even if you don't get full support, because sometimes your loved ones and other people around you, they're just not going to want to believe that this is what you want to do. In fact, it might be a very much a defense mechanism, in fact. And Coach Michaela, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. But a lot of times you get a lot of negative responses to wanting to try something new because those people who are offering those negative responses don't want to believe that what they are doing is of the wrong, right? It's almost like a hurt people situation. And this is something I learned from Dr. Shannon Irvine. Hurt people. Sometimes people will put you down when you're trying to do something that they would love to do, but they just can't see themselves doing it. So they take other people down with them. Have you ever heard about the bucket of crabs? I heard once that we live in this world that's sort of like a bucket of crabs. If you ever get a bucket of crabs, like maybe you're in Maine or something, and you put live crabs in a bucket, you will never have to worry about those crabs crawling out. You could leave them there for hours, and they would still all be there at the end. You know why? Because we live in a bucket of crabs. When one crab tries to crawl out, the other crabs claw onto that crab and bring him back down. Because, no, where are you going? It's not safe out there. Come back. Or, no, that's not the right way to do it. This is where you need to be. So we live in this bucket of crabs, and that's kind of how the world is sometimes. So we need to find those people who will support us. But I think especially if you have a spouse or you're living with somebody, helping them understand why you're going to be grinding, why you're going to be in the office all night, why you're going to be waking up super early to work on these things, and the fact that you can ask for support, or at least not negative support, is so key, right? Just to be upfront with, hey, babe, like I have this drive. I'm really unhappy at my job. I want to support us. And don't worry, I'm not quitting or anything right now, but I really, really want to make a change that'll make me and all of us happier, and I can be a little bit more in control of our future. This is what I'm hoping to do and achieve. I wanted to just let you know because I want to be honest with you and let you know that this is really important to me, and I would love, love, love so much your support. And if you don't support this, let's talk it out, because this is something that I believe would be the right move for us. And then you can have those conversations, right? Rhino says, put those crabs in a pot and have a crab broil. I'm not necessarily a crab person. I'm more of a, let's put those buffalo wings in a bucket. But then, yeah, that would be weird. Anyway, so that's number one. Thank you for that. But at least not negative support is a great way. Like, hey, don't tear me down when I'm trying to do this, but I'm going to make sure that I do my best to not affect us when I'm doing this. But this is really what I'm trying to strive for. So that's really important. And if you have friends and colleagues that are sort of in a similar boat, or who are also striving to start something new on their own, then try to find those people. You want to connect with people who will support you, which is why this is so great. The fact that the income stream is here every morning. I'm not saying that about me. I'm saying that about you, because you all have actually taken to it to be a part of a community here to help each other. There's a Slack channel. There's other places that you can go to. Partnerships are being formed here. Friendships are being formed here. And this is the kind of support that we need. Even though we're not blood related, we are related in the journey that we're on together. Some of us a little bit further ahead, but what's cool about that is we can help each other, right? And I'm just the team captain. That's why it's Team Flynn. I'm just the team captain, yo. I'm the team captain. I have the giant machete. We're going through the forest together, and I can clear the path for you. But hey, I might ask you for help. I might ask you every once in a while to step up, and I might pass you the ball to score. But hey, we all win together, we lose together, and that's why we're here. So that's number one, communication and support. Number two, I would absolutely try to find out what my number is. What's my number? Not like my favorite number. My favorite number is 3, by the way. And 88. 88 miles per hour. Marty! So that's really key. You need to know your number. What number am I talking about? I'm talking about the number that you need to make annually for you to feel comfortable in your life. I have a lot of people who want to start businesses who I help, and I ask them, well, what's your number? And they want, I want $1 million business. I want to make 7 figures. And I'm like, that's a great goal, but do you need to make 7 figures in order to quit your job? What might you need? Thank you, Captain, for all you. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate you. So what is your number? When I really sit down and calculate a person's number in terms of how much they would need, like per year or even per month in order to live and be happy and get what they want, it's funny because that seven-figure figure actually turns into $80,000 a year or $5,000 a month. Wow, okay, that's a completely different business model up front. And if you are looking to walk away from a 9-to-5 grind and move into something, well, let's maybe save the 7-figure goals for later. Jamie, thank you for that super chat, by the way. And let's get to our minimum goals for our for what we might feel comfortable with in terms of leaving and stepping into something new. So now, if you have, for example, a $5,000 a year goal, Paximus, welcome to Team Flynn, my friend.
Bruh.
And Solar Gravity 88 MPH, there is your next emoji. Love this family. Definitely some Back to the Future emojis coming for sure. Coach Michaela says, if people had any idea how much work it takes to operate and run a $1 million business, they would run for the hills. You know what? That's so true. And we do hear every once in a while those outliers, right? An outlier is like those media stories we hear about that one person who got rich and they're not working at all. It's like, okay, that's good for them, but that's highly unlikely. How many people, stories do we hear where they're just making exactly what they need and they're happy? We don't hear that because that's not story worthy, but that's amazing. And that's what we want to shoot for, especially if we're trying to remove ourselves from a grind. So figure out what that number is, because then you can work backwards from there and you can see how you're progressing. And it's a lot more achievable, obviously. So let's say it was $5,000 a month. Well, guess what? Let's do some interesting math. That's 100 customers at $50. So if I had a $50 product, I could just get 100 people in every single month. Or what about a $500 coaching program? Wow, okay, I only need 10 people to coach and pay me $500 a month. Or what about one person? You have this skill and you can help somebody who's maybe a little bit more affluent or who has a large pain and has some budget or money to spend. What if you consulted one business for $5,000 a month to help them achieve something? Well, you're there already, right? So when you reverse engineer this math, this number becomes key, because then you can understand how far away you are from that. The other number to pay attention to is like how much or at what point would you feel comfortable, either quitting, right? And getting to that point. It might be a number of how much you might be making already in your business so that you can feel comfortable quitting. And it's usually not going to be the same amount. It's going to be something because you'll realize that you're going to have more time, right? And time is money as well. And by getting to that number and then releasing yourself from that ball and chain, you'd be able to now open up more time to be able to dive into that business. And the other thing about this is to understand that, let's say you quit, it's not like you can never go back, and maybe you might not be able to go back to that particular position at that particular company, but you have these skills that you can still, with a little bit of risk in trying something new, maybe that doesn't work out right away, or you find that you need to get another job, you can find another job elsewhere. It's not like a forever decision, right? So that should be hopefully encouraging. The other number is to consider is how much savings might you need in order to feel comfortable as well. 3 to year-long buffer I've seen people offer themselves in terms of savings, being able to live off of that while building a business and doing a lot of the things I'm about to talk about in terms of how we might get started there. Yo, thanks for the thumbs up, everybody. Appreciate you. And that's awesome. April here says, I need 300 people to pay $27 a month, and then I can quit my 8 to 5. There's also other ways to do this math, April. What if you had, for example, I'm trying to do the math in my head, but what if you had 150 clients? No. What if you had 100 people pay you 27, but then for the rest of it, you just had, 10 people paying a higher amount to make up the difference. Now, because maybe 10% of your clients might want to actually upgrade to the higher level stuff, right? So there might be some stuff that you can charge more for, a little bit more access to you potentially, but that way you don't have to get 300 at a lower price. Maybe there's a certain number at the lower price, but then a certain number at the higher price, which can make up a lot of that difference as well. A lot of really cool ways to potentially do that. Okay, number 3. So we talked about number 1, communication and support. Number 2, the number. And number 3, your why. Right? What is your why? Yes, the why might be immediately, I just hate my job, or I want to walk away and start something on my own and have more control. But ultimately, what would you want to do with that control? We need to go levels deeper. We need to do the Toyota 5 whys. Why? Okay, why? I want to quit my job. Why? So I can get more time back. Why? So that I can feel like a little bit more freedom, like I have more freedom in my life. Why? So that I can spend more time with my kids. Oh, okay. Why? Because I don't want those relationships that I have with my kids to be all about me being gone the whole time and then coming in at the end of the day to try and have a conversation with them. I want to be there with them all day so that we can have a lifelong relationship and they can be better citizens because I'm able to help them and I don't know. I'm just kind of expressing this as we go. Jason, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. Appreciate you, dude. I just like to come home 5K a month from a business. I need a lot of streams for my music, but I have related stuff too. Yeah, I mean, when you reverse engineer that number, it's not just about the individual stream. For example, if you're making sort of dollars and cents from the stream, it might be merch. It might be other things too. So just keep that in mind. But yes, the why, really, really important. So if you'd like to, in the chat, express your why, I'd love for you to share. What is your why? The why isn't because you want to quit. That's a byproduct of the why. Your why is much deeper, and you need to know and remember what your why is, and you need to set reminders for yourself as you are starting your business. That why is going to be really important because you're going to get to a point where you're going to hit a brick wall. You're going to get to a point where you're going to want to turn back and go back to the old ways because it's going to be hard. You're going to go, that 9 to 5, although I hated it, like it was so much easier than this. Well, of course, because starting a business is hard, yo. Starting a business takes risk, and that's scary, and your brain is going into, I might die mode because we just have these doubts and fears based on just it's new and it's something that's unfamiliar. And we are only born with 2 fears, the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises or snakes or something, right? You know this because if you take a baby and then you pretend to sort of fall with it, like you're playing with it, don't just take random babies to do this, but you'll notice that its arms spread out. It's because it's trying to catch itself from like falling like from a tree or something. I don't know. But all other fears are put on us by society. Fears are important because they stop us from dying, but you're not going to die doing this. But you might not live if you don't. Ooh, that was pretty deep. You're not going to die starting a new business, but you might not live if you don't. Now, that was pretty deep. That was pretty deep. Okay. So remember your why. Number 4, try to find a person or people who are where you want to be. Because those are people who, number 1, will inspire and motivate you. Number 2, they perhaps have shared or even will pave the path for you. And number 3, they could be people who you could potentially invest in the future directly to get some mentorship from. I did not have a mentor, like an actual mentor when I first started, a person who I could reach out to and who would literally tell me what to do. But I did a couple things. Number 1, I found a podcast called Internet Business Mastery, and I considered Jason and Jeremy, the hosts of that show, my mentors because they were where I wanted to be. They were sharing advice and talking to me because they knew exactly where I was at. And that was really, really important. That connection, that ability for them to go, hey, I see where you're at and I know where you want to go. Let me help you. And that's what we need to do when we're starting our own businesses, right? But if you're starting out in your 9 to 5, you're trying to start something on the side, try to find somebody who's doing something the way that you want. You don't have to follow Grant Cardone if you're not a Grant Cardone fan. If you don't like his aggressive style, then why in the world would you consume his content even if everybody says it's great? Find a person who's in life where you want to be and try to uncover and unpack how they did it. And there's a lot of people, myself included, who are willing to share even for free how to do that sort of stuff, who you might be able to get some access to, like on a live stream every morning. And that's really, really important, right? Grandma Goody says, this community is where I have found people who are where I want to be and are encouraging those of us who are still aspiring. Thank you, Grandma Goody. And I agree. This is a community, and there's many other communities out there. You might find one that is even more aligned with who you are and where you want to go, and have you find people who are on that same journey as you, or who might be a little bit further ahead. So when I first started, I didn't have a personal mentor. I had virtual mentors, podcast hosts. Tim Ferriss was one in his book, The 4-Hour Workweek. And I just was really paying attention, just a few people who were where I wanted to be, and trying to unpack and understand how they did it, and realizing very quickly that this was going to be a journey, but also getting inspired and motivated along the way. And what I loved about Internet Business Mastery was, in fact, they invited a lot of people on their podcast to inspire and to motivate. And one episode was with a man named Cornelius Fitchner. And Cornelius had passed the project management exam and then started teaching people how to pass the PM exam. That was my big light bulb moment. That was the person. That interview I've listened to, I think, 20 or 50 times. 20 to 50. I can't remember. I listened to it on repeat. That's a big number, right? That just reminds me, this is sort of a weird side note, but there was a SNL skit with Daniel Radcliffe where somebody was asking him about voting, and she was polling him like, okay, well, let me get some information from you first. This is so random, but it's just hilarious to me in April. It's probably not going to be hilarious to you, but this woman asks Daniel Radcliffe, hey, I need to ask you some questions about how you feel about the upcoming polls, but I need to ask you first, what's your age? So she goes, okay, are you 18 to 25? And he goes, yep. And she goes, what? You have to let me finish. That was like the joke. She would always have to finish her thoughts first before he would answer. So she was like, okay, are you 18 to 25? And he goes, yep. And she goes, nope, let me finish. Are you 18 to 25 or 26 to 110? And it was just really weird, and I don't even remember why I was going down this path in the first place, but you have to see it. Anyway, it was that interview that really inspired me, and then now, eventually I ended up investing in Internet Business Mastery Academy back in the day, and that was really key because then they taught me the specifics, and I trusted them, and they knew exactly where I was, and that was really key too. So anyway, that was so deep that I think I might have fainted a little bit. Cool. This is great. I started out with Sean Cannell, maybe? And then I saw his interview with Pat, and now I ended up watching Pat for the last 2 months. Thanks, Rex. Sean is amazing. He's a great guy. Let's see here. Cool. 200 viewers. Don't forget to hit the like button, says Samson. Thank you so much for that. Yo, Mrs. V Poncho, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. And the sticker, your little popcorn sticker. That's great. You made me laugh. Try. Thank you, Pat Flynn. You're welcome. Okay, let's keep going here. Got a lot more to talk about. Time. Time is of essence. But where do we get the time when we're working a 9-to-5 job? This is a really tough thing. So let me tell you a quick little situation about time. This is number 5 here, by the way. In the world of finance, there's this thing called pay yourself first, right? Whether you have a 9-to-5 job or you're an entrepreneur, it's a really good practice to, when you get that paycheck or you have your payroll run and you see that money come in, to take a percentage of that money and just, first thing you do, before you pay bills, before you pay for groceries, before anything, thank you, Solar Gravity, Rhino, I see you there. I don't have to say it anymore, the emojis come. You pay yourself first, and you put that into a little account. It just if you can automate that, even better, right? Because then over time, you're not even gonna notice that money is getting put in there. And then after a few years, you're gonna have this nest egg because you've paid yourself first. You learn how to live with the money that you've had left over after you pay yourself first. It's just like a house, right? Whatever size your house is, you're going to fill it up, right? It happens. So you're able to make it work for in most cases. if you just put $50 a month into an account, right? And you just continue to do that over time. Rafal, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. So that's really key. We can do the same thing with time. You pay yourself first with time. And over time, this time is going to add up. And you're not going to understand this, but you're going to be able to make progress, even with 30 minutes a day here and there. And what I mean by pay yourself first in time is start your day for you. This is the Miracle Morning. Any Miracle Morning fans, Hal Elrod fans? It's Pancho V, thank you. From the Philippines. Hello, I'm half Filipino myself. I was there 6 years ago for an event. It was so awesome. In Cebu, actually. But you can pay yourself first with time, meaning you wake up maybe a little bit earlier, half hour earlier before the kids get up, and you work on you, your own stuff. And then that little amount of time, maybe the kids get up or maybe it's time to go to work or what have you, well, you've dedicated your energy at least to start your day for yourself first. Because this is how I see it, right? We wake up and because we fell asleep and hopefully got a good night's rest, we have this tank of creative juice, right? And what happens for most people? We wake up in the morning because an alarm is set off because we now are dedicating our time to somebody else. We're dedicating it to the kids to put them into school and get them ready, although that's going to be weird this year. Or we're dedicating our time to helping somebody else's business that they started, right? We're going to a 9 to 5. And what do we try to do? We try to work on ourselves after the day is over when that tank is empty, right? You've exhausted all your decision-making energy for other people first, and trying to do that at the end of the day is going to be really difficult. It's going to feel like you're kind of working on fumes. But you can pay yourself first, right? I hope you can pay yourself first and dedicate that time to you so that at least if even by the end of the day you're so tired, you've at least made a little bit of progress in what it is that you're doing, right? So that is really, really important because over time, that 30 minutes a day can add up. My book, Will It Fly, was written at 5:30 in the morning before the kids got up around 6:30. And I just spent every day writing in the morning and trying to get at it. Some days I made progress, some days I made very little progress, but over time that habit starts to form. And then you don't even realize that just becomes a normal part of your day. This is why the Miracle Morning is really great, because you can wake up for yourself first, you work on personal development, and then you're dedicating your time and energy to somebody else or somebody else's stuff. You've started the day accomplishing things for yourself first. And it's almost like, you know, in the plane when the sort of mask comes down and they're doing the demonstration, they're like, hey, put it on yourself first before you put it on somebody else. And that's so that you can take care of yourself first. Because if you can't do that, well, you're not going to be around or able to take care of other people around you too. Anka says, yes, last few months I've been doing this and it works much better than trying to do it after work and I'm exhausted. I might be ready to launch my podcast in September. That's amazing. Congratulations. That's so cool. Anka, thank you so much for that. Rafal, thank you for the super chat, my friend, the super sticker. Love this. Pat Flynn says, peasant, working, so can't comment as much, but loving this. You're welcome. The majority of my dissertation, Jamin says, was written between the hours of 4 to 7. No interruptions, right? And I think that if you're struggling for time, even just a little bit of time for yourself to start the day is much better than trying to find an hour at the end of the day when you're already exhausted. And what's really cool is you get up energized and hopefully focused because you know that time is limited. So you actually put a lot more into that versus just the hour at the end of the day where you're just like, okay, I guess let's see if I can figure out what to do. No, you understand even the day before you go to bed. Okay, when I wake up in the morning, this is what I'm going to get done, or this is what I'm going to work on, or I'm going to brainstorm about this, and then you can make progress from there. In addition to paying yourself first with time, we're on number 6 now. So we're halfway through. Let's cover these one more time. Number 1, communication and support from people around you, right? Colleagues, friends, whatever you can do to find that support, and especially loved ones, communicate with them about why you're wanting to do this and why you would love their support, or at least would love for them to not negatively support it too. And it might take some dialogue, it might take some back and forth, it might take some negotiation, but that's really important. Number 2, what's your number? The number that you need for you to feel happy about monthly that you'd be comfortable quitting. It's likely a lot smaller than you think. And then you can reverse engineer that and inspire yourself because you might realize that, wow, it's actually a lot closer and achievable than you might think. Number 3, what's your why? What's the real reason why you're doing this? It's not because you hate your job or because you feel stuck there, but because you want something else. You want something deeper, right? Let's see. We got Xavier. Wow, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Paximus, thank you so much for the $5 super chat as well. Paximus, there you are. And Xavier as well. It's like you were looking into my current situation and challenges with my online projects. Thanks for this great advice, Pat. Yeah, this was the community, the subscribers here on YouTube who have paid $1.99 a month. They are, I'm able to communicate with them through the community tab, and they offered this as a topic. So great job, guys, and I hope you enjoy the emojis. But thank you for the super chat, by the way, once again. Cool. Number 4, your mentor. Who is where you want to be? Try to find somebody who can inspire you, who has paved the way for you, that you can learn from and kind of just hone in your energy to. And number 5, pay yourself first with time. So let's now go into the second half, and we're about right on time here, halfway through the live chat today. And if you're getting value from this, just let me know in the chat. Hook me up with a thumbs up. Let's see if we can get to 100 even before the 45-minute mark. That would be amazing, because I don't even know where we're at. 84 already, which is really great. So thank you so much. Bill here says, I have a special tax I pay. Always pay cash, and every time I break a 20 note, I put the change in my safe box. Building up to hundreds, it makes you think about petty spending on crap. Yeah, I love that system. Whatever system you might need to just go, you know what, like, let me just devote my time or my money to these places and make sure I don't waste that time or money. That could be really great too. Cool. Let's go to number 6 now. And this is what I like to call just-in-time learning. Many of you have heard me talk about this before, but let me explain this because it's a really powerful concept. One of the things that actually holds us back when we're just starting out is all the information that's available to us. It's so overwhelming. There's so many people and articles and podcasts and videos that you can learn from. It's almost like, well, where do I even start? Let me just dive into all of it and see what I can pick up. And that's the wrong approach. This is why finding that one mentor or one person to learn from and following them is really key. And number 2, when you know what you want to do or you understand what those priorities are, then only allow yourself to learn about that thing. All other learnings about all the other things that people are talking about do not matter. Put them aside for later. Put them in an Evernote folder so you can come back to them and you don't have FOMO and feel like you're going to be missing out. Okay, you can put them or bookmark them so that you can get back to that. And in most cases, you're never going to go back to those. It's the idea of feeling comfortable, putting everything else aside and only allowing yourself to learn about the things that you are working on right now. So if you're starting a podcast, fantastic. Only allow yourself to learn about those things, read about those things, watch about those things. Not even read any books about anything else other than that thing that you want to do right now, other than just sort of leisure reading for entertainment purposes. That's totally fine, obviously. And you still need to take breaks from your work as well. That's important too. But just-in-time learning has been so key because I once was subscribed to 25 podcasts. Chat, if you are willing to, how many podcasts are you subscribed to or different blogs might you read? If you're comfortable sharing that number, that would be great, because then I'm just trying to demonstrate that we often overlearn. We overlearn. Isn't that crazy that learning can be something that can hold you back? But it absolutely can, because we only have so much time in the day. So when you dedicate your time to learning only about the things that you're learning about and trying to understand for the purposes of your next move, well, then that's great, because then you can make that next move and then learn about something else later that is about that next move. And this is called what I like to say just-in-time learning, right? Just-in-time learning.
Bruh.
Some bros here. Appreciate you. Was that? I knew it was Hey Archer. Hair's on point. Thank you. Hey, really? Thank you. Appreciate that. Going to a wedding today, by the way. It's on the beach, and we're all going to be spread out, and it's for one of my best friends, but I'm not going to the reception, but yeah. Shiny objects is my downfall. 7, 3 to 4 podcasts, etc. I am sub to 31 podcasts as Karma. It's hard. It's hard. And the hard thing about it, especially when you have all these people that you learn from, it's like you feel like you're behind now, right? Like, how incredible is it that we feel behind because we haven't listened to that next podcast episode yet, versus feeling behind and making progress on our business because we haven't dedicated time to it. That's where the real pain should be, versus what we often find when we subscribe to all these different things is like, oh, I feel like I'm behind in learning. What did I miss? Right? Versus let me actively go and find the stuff that, or let me actively interact or ask questions about the next thing that's on my plate. Just in time learning. I kind of want to write a book about that. I am going to be writing a book starting in October. Hopefully using a lot of November this year to crank on that. And I'm going to be writing this book publicly and using my time here on the income stream to share my progress and to hopefully hold myself accountable. I want you to help me as well. Would that be a topic of interest, just-in-time learning? I mean, it's a really easy concept, but it's interesting because a lot of these easy concept books like Miracle Morning or The 5-Second Rule, Mel Robbins, or the one about like making your bed in the morning, right? How that just is now a 200-page book and a bestseller. I think it's just more relevant to people. So yeah, I don't know. Would you buy that book? I don't know. Let's see. I have a lot of books I want to write, but I think that's a really important one, especially for this information age where we're getting all overwhelmed, right? Living Joyful and Well. Oh my God, way too many subscribed. 70 podcasts. Wow. Do they all spark joy in your life? Do they all spark joy in your life? But yes, I will be writing another book for sure. Okay, let's go into the next one, number 7. This kind of relates. It's when we're just starting out in business and with hopefully learning from the right people and understanding sort of the path that we need to take, we need to try and figure out, well, what actions should we be taking? And it's even more important when you're in a 9-to-5 because you can't waste any time. Now, wasting time and experimenting is different, right? I want to make sure we hone in on this because starting a business is an experiment. It's experimental. We have a hypothesis. We think people are going to be interested or buy this. We put this into practice. We try to understand maybe in a little petri dish whether or not a specific tactic or something works. And then what does work, we like, okay, rinse and repeat that. Or what doesn't work, we put it aside and try the experiment again or try it in a different way, right? That's fine. That's not a waste of time because you're learning. A waste of time with your time to build your business might be doing things like, okay, I'm going to be on social media all day and interact and kind of just be on Facebook, but not really dedicate my time to actually understanding what my audience is looking for. Or it might be getting into your email and trying to answer emails that, yes, are probably useful for you to do, but then you're not making moves and taking bold actions that are required for you to get to that next step and next level. So trying to understand what actions you should be taking, or at least testing yourself such that when you are doing work, you know that that's work that matters, that you are moving the needle, right? So living joyful and well, no, they don't all spark joy. Teeth, what is that emoji called where they're like that? And that's okay. And this is why we're talking about this, because this is a trap that we all fall into. I've run into this myself. My Castle Life, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you, and you're amazing. Yay, we got 100 likes. Thanks, Karma, for letting me know. That's so cool. So what actions should you be taking? And just kind of like offering a test for yourself. Whenever it's time for you to get work done, how do you know that that's the work that is actually going to move the needle, right? And hopefully you're getting inspired and learning from other people to do this, and you are able to, stop aimlessly scrolling on the interwebs. Now we have a catch-22 because I want to read that book, but I also want to spend more time implementing and less time learning. This is true. I will say it'll be interesting because there is a little meta in that book, right? Hey, you're reading this book, but is that actually what you should be doing? I'll have to address that at some point in the book. But anyway, what's up, Start at Flame? Good to see you here. Time to cull the list. Exactly. Would love to see these notes. It says about Rex. This live or a premiere? This is live, Gustavo. This is live. So welcome in. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Smart Passive Income Podcast was the first I ever subscribed to, says Jamin. I love these emojis. LOL. Thanks, Hey Archer. Dude, it's been a while since I've seen you here live with us, which is really cool. I appreciate you being here. Okay, so taking purposeful actions, right? Making sure to understand when you are taking actions or making decisions that these are purposeful actions that you're taking. Experiments is okay. Failing is part of the process. But number 8, let's go into start fast, but start small, right? I think it was Gary Vee who said, and actually there was I posted something on my Instagram yesterday about Gary Vee, and it's kind of exploding. This idea of, and it was a great conversation, respectful conversations being had in the comments, but definitely the most comments I've had on a post in a long time. But it was about this debate about hustle culture and how Gary is either being perceived as somebody who is making sense to people right now or absolutely just not. And it's really interesting. Instagram.com/PatFlynn if you want to see that latest post, because somebody wrote an article about hustle culture during this time and how dangerous it is. And there's a lot of opinions about that. It's really interesting. Micro hustle, macro patience. That's what he says. And I love that. Micro hustle. So hustle being spurts of energy into something that you know is worth your time and effort, right? Hustle to me is also important in terms of your family. You need a hustle on your family time as well. Hustle doesn't mean like get no sleep and work yourself to death, in my opinion. So anyway, Mike, I like this juxtaposition. Micro hustle, like small purposeful actions quickly, but then macro patience. Macro patience is really important because it's going to take some time for us to get results. It's going to take some time for us to get an understanding of what works and what doesn't. But you have to sort of hustle in those small micro moments to get to those bigger things that will actually work out in the long run. So I love that. Micro hustle, macro patience, right? Micro hustle, macro patience. The heebie-jeebies, says Xavier. I never heard that. That's funny. The heebie-jeebies. Heebie-jeebies. Tibeus. Hi from Ethiopia. Impressive content. Thank you. I apologize if I did not pronounce your name correctly. Cool. So that's number 8. Start fast, but start small. Micro hustle, macro patience. Number 9, get to failures fast. Right? This is a part of the process, but it's getting to failures fast and understanding that failing is a part of the process, y'all. If you are an entrepreneur, you have to take that in. And it's so hard because we are conditioned, my friends. We are conditioned to believe that failure is bad. I came home from a test at school with a 97% on my exam. And what happens, because this is not just me, but a lot of people I know, I come home, what happened to the other 3%? And then working for 2.5 hours on the 3%. I was conditioned to be perfect, to try and go for perfection. And I eventually learned that when you try to become an entrepreneur, and really what helped me was getting laid off, because that was the first time that I did everything right and it didn't work out. And it was a big, massive blow. And that was sort of my eyes opening to the fact that, wow, I did everything that I was supposed to and I still got let go. This doesn't make sense. Let me see if I can unpack this. And then I wanted to start something on my own that I had more control over, such that if I were to fail, it would be my own fault, not something that I couldn't see or couldn't figure out on my own or have any control over. So this idea of failing has to be a part of your repertoire. It has to be a part of the language of entrepreneurship. I mean, imagine like what that was like, coming home and then working for 3 hours on those 3 questions I got wrong, not even really getting appreciated for the 97% I got right. For me as a kid, that was like, okay, I have to get everything right. And when I get a 99%, I'm still failing. Which is not true. If failing is, 69 or less. Or no, is that a C? D? That's a D. I don't even know the breakdowns anymore. My kids at their school, they don't have grades. So I'm trying to remember what it was like. But yes, failing is a part of the process. Failing is, in fact, a major ingredient in the recipe to becoming successful and starting something that would actually help people. Because how would you know what works and what doesn't to get to the point where you actually have something of service to people if you weren't able to fail? I mean, it doesn't make sense. So failing is okay because these are experiments, right? We're creating little micro experiments, as you might know. If you haven't checked it out yet, I recommend checking out my page at, it's been a while since I've shared this, but there is definitely an update I'd love to share with you on this. So if you go to, let me go to the website really quick. If you go to smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit, smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit, you'll go here. And this page is a page we set up in March to help people during the crisis and the pandemic that's happening. Free resources for myself and my team, a bunch of podcast episodes. But if you scroll down, you'll see some resources to help you. Smart from Scratch is the course that I would recommend if you're literally just starting out, because right now it's still free. We said we were going to make it free so long as the pandemic was still happening, and that was what we thought was going to be just a couple months. Well, it's like 7 months. We're like 7 months or 6 months into this now, which is kind of crazy, or 148 days, which is not exactly 6 months, but it's a long time. We've given away over $3.2 million worth of this course. $3.2 million. And I'm so happy that we were able to give that away. So if you haven't yet gotten that, smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit. You can get that for free. It's my course to help people at the start, to help you learn how to fail properly, meaning you're going to iterate, you're going to experiment, you're going to have conversations, you're going to work your way toward a business that will actually work so you don't waste your time and money. It's about these micro experiments and iterations over time so that you don't waste your time and money. My book, Will It Fly, which talks about that as well. In fact, the book came first. The course came after people who read the book said, okay, tell me more. You can download a PDF of the book there too. Wait. It's been 90 days since I've given away Will It Fly for free on Kindle, which means I can now offer it for free again. Maybe I'll do that next week. Because if you're in KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing, you have the ability to every 90 days offer a special deal on your book like that. And I'll need to do that again because that was really cool. Anyway, thanks so much, chat. I appreciate you for your support with that. Saw a question coming, I think. Question, someone once told me never have a plan B because you'll always fall back on it, but I think safety net is prudent like a day job. Thoughts? Well, I got to tell you, and this is coming from Doug Smith, and this is a great question. Doug, I didn't have a plan B when I got laid off. I was dedicated to what I thought was a very secure job, and I got laid off, and it was difficult because I didn't have a plan B. But because I didn't have a plan B, I know 100%, I know I did things that I wouldn't have done if I had a safety net. I took bolder actions. I took bigger risks. I got out of my comfort zone as a result of that. And that's a key part. So a plan B situation, I think, is important to have, but you still need to have something that gets you to move, right? And that, for me, was not having a plan B. Something that got me to go, okay, this is uncomfortable, I'm going to try it anyway because I have no choice. I had just proposed to my girlfriend. She said yes. We were planning this wedding, and it was going to be a Filipino wedding, so like 100,000 people were going to be there. Not really, but a lot because, you know, the parents like to invite the person who babysat you once when you were, 7 to your wedding. It's just, it's big, right? It's very family oriented and friend oriented, and so we were going to pay for that. But how are we going to do that? So anyway, good afternoon. Just want to say your shirt is like a reminder to me. Now I have given up on my job to focus on my health. Sometimes I feel down and don't create, but you inspire me. Thank you. And create every day. Aaron, welcome to Team Flynn Platinum. Bruh. Appreciate you. This shirt, create every day, doesn't necessarily mean like create a blog post every day or create a YouTube video every day. It, to me, beyond that is you get to make your day, right? You get to create what this day is going to be for you so that by the end of it, you'll know whether or not you've actually done something and actually made progress. One thing that I like to make sure is the case is when we start the day, oftentimes we start the day because of, working on somebody else's stuff, or maybe you stubbed your toe and then you drop the eggs on the ground and all this other stuff. And what do? We tell ourselves, oh, today's going to be a bad day. By telling yourself that today's going to be a bad day, that's the day that you're creating for yourself. Although maybe it was an accident that the eggs fell on the ground, and although it was an accident that you stubbed your toe or your kids left their Lego on the ground, it is your choice to determine how that affects the rest of your day. And what often happens, and what I used to do, is go, oh, today's a bad day, and then what happens is confirmation bias takes hold. What that means is you now start searching for things that prove it's a bad day. Things that otherwise would have happened and it wouldn't have mattered at all, but now it just becomes a reinforcement to that bad day, and by the end of the day, you're like, yep, bad day, I'm going to wake up, try again tomorrow, versus in that moment where you stub your toe or you drop the eggs, I don't know why I keep saying that, but you have a decision to go, that happened, but that's not going to affect the rest of my day. I choose to create today in the way that I want to create and the ability that I have to do so. So that by the end of the day, I can go, okay, despite dropping the eggs, despite stubbing my toe in the beginning of the day, I still made progress. I still was able to hug my kids. I still was able to breathe the air outside. I still was able to be grateful for things that I have access to. Thoughts on becoming reality? Thoughts become reality, yes. What you think becomes, right? Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. This think and grow rich sort of philosophy, although there's a lot of debate about it. No, you can't just like, okay, I'm going to be rich, 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 and then boom, you have money in your account. That's not how it works. But it does work in the sense that you will positively reaffirm that you can be successful. Therefore, you will do the things that are required for you to be successful. The reverse of that is you will not stunt yourself from that growth. You will not hold yourself back if you think in that way. And again, it's positive affirmations, it's visualizations of the future, it's being proud of the small wins and the small things that you're learning, even through failure, understanding the learnings with that. And there you go. Big thanks to all the members here. We got a lot of people in the house. If you don't know what a membership is here on the channel, membership means for the price of a cup of coffee, $1.99 a month, you can support the channel. And I take all that money every single month and I share it with a charity and actually give it all away. And my family and I, we match as well. Plus, you get access to emojis and community-only chat. I'll be doing some community-only live streams every once in a while. But don't worry, no fee required, as the song says. You don't have to pay. Don't feel bad about not doing that. It's just if you have the ability to support, that'd be awesome. But if not, no worries whatsoever. Please. Income Stream will always be here. It'll always be open public chat. And I'm still going to be here to support you. So this month, we are donating to polarisproject.org, which is helping to put a stop to human trafficking. And big thanks to all the new members coming in. I appreciate you. Awesome. So we have 9 minutes left. I would love to do what I can to support you. So if you have any questions, let me know. Members, use the question emoji so I can find it easier. If you're not a member, just use the word question in all caps followed by your question, and I'll do what I can to support you. I see a question coming in here today from Gabriella. Gabriella says, when you calculate your number, so this was number 3 today about sort of how much money you might need to live so that you can sort of reverse engineer and come up with a job, for example. How do you factor in other resources, i.e. gear, software? I'm not always sure what tools I will always need in the beginning. Do you set a budget? I don't even think about that at first. I don't factor in that. I just go, okay, how much would I need to live? Because really the purpose of this exercise is not to get to a specific amount, like $88,197 is exactly how much I need annually, which means it's going to be, you know, whatever price that is monthly down to the penny. And if I hit that, then I'm successful. If not, I'm not. That's not necessarily what it means. It's basically an exercise to go, I don't need a 7-figure business right now to be able to make a comfortable living, to be able to quit my job. Here is a ballpark number around which I would be comfortable, or and if you can get specific, that's even better. But I don't take into account, okay, well, what's this like, and you know, how much am I spending on tools and whatnot? That sort of comes afterwards, and things get readjusted over time as you start to get specific. It's more of a repositioning of where are you at versus where you want to be. That's really the idea there. Question from Fun Will Now Commence from Asma. Thank you. If I read a book and tell my thoughts about this book in a video and make a channel about it, is it good or not? I want to hear your opinion, Pat Flynn. So a book review channel. Number 1, go to YouTube and look up book reviews and book review channels. You will find loads of them. What does that mean? It means a couple things. Number 1, it means that this does work, right? So whenever I have people go out and do research about their business, when they find other competitors out there, they often feel deflated. They often feel like, oh my gosh, somebody's already beat me to it. I can't do it anymore. No, that's not true. What that means is the market is proven. People are looking for that information. And it also means that you can come in at an advantage coming in later because you can see how other people have already done it. They've made the mistakes already. You can pick it up from there and offer something different or better, right? And so, yes, it can work. But if you do it just like everybody else, then it's not. I would come up with some angle. Maybe you read, maybe you read a book a day and you share your thoughts in a live stream about that, which would be quite difficult. And I wouldn't do that, actually. That sounds like a nightmare. I would maybe take the approach of I'm going to read chapter by chapter. And as I'm reading chapter by chapter, I'm going to actually be taking action and doing and showing you how I do this. So I'm going to read this book called Miracle Morning, and then you're going to see a vlog from me talking about the different things within it and how weird it is and how vulnerable I am, but also how great the results are. I might take a book and try to find other studies that support the same things that the person in the book is talking about, so that I can sort of, again, help people and reinforce those things through my own lens, because maybe I have an expertise that other people don't or that author didn't have. So that might be really interesting. I don't know, but I think that it can work. It's just if you create what everybody else has already created, it will definitely not, because you're always going to be second at best. We need to create something that becomes yours. Oh yeah, I love Asma's review channel because he's the only one that blank. What's that blank? You got to figure that out. Time went by quick, or Pat talked really fast, says Rex. Yes, probably both. Question, how would you change your approach for a nonprofit? I wouldn't. It would be the same exact approach. The only thing different is that the business, the 502, I think it is, and the classification, as well as the ability to reach out and instead of getting people to buy my stuff, it's getting people to support the cause. I would not change the approach in the way that I would form the business because I would want to use, for example, storytelling. I would look up Charity Water to see how they've really, really grown. They've told stories. That's their number one strategy, is telling stories. And that's something that should happen in your business too. When I found out that my story about getting laid off as an architect and then starting my business was something that people resonated with, guess what I did? I leaned in on that and I told more of that story, and I went deeper into it. In fact, I wrote a book about that story called Let Go, which is in fact free, again, at smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit if you want to check that out. But all that to say, I wouldn't change the approach. It would just be the outcomes would be different. Consult a blind guy. When live streaming, is there such a thing as too many topics? Thanks again for everything. Yeah, I mean, just live streaming or not, if it's a container of time, I mean, just think about a magazine versus, a general topic magazine versus a niche magazine. Or, I think really what I would do is position it as thinking about it from the audience's perspective and whether or not this is going to be helpful or overwhelming or not. I definitely think I could go, for example, if I spoke today about this plus cars plus technology plus, interior design plus starting a business, obviously that's not going to make sense. But hopefully, hopefully that makes sense. What's your current favorite WordPress plugin and why? Well, it's got to be fusebox.fm because it's my own plugin, and it helps you with your transcripts for SEO for podcasts. And it also puts a beautiful player on your website that gets you more downloads, has people stick around your website longer. It makes a great first impression for your podcast. But that's my own plugin, so a little bit of a plug there for my own plugin. Probably still classic Yoast SEO, right? When it comes to writing articles and creating guides and things that are hopefully going to bring traffic in, Yoast SEO you can't miss, especially with the idea that you can sort of set things up ahead of time in terms of your description, your metadata, etc., and see what that's going to look like on the other end. We use a lot of copywriting strategies and a lot of copywriting strategies, not just in the title, but in the description as well for what people will see in the metadata. So that's really key too. So anyway, we are at the end of our chat here today. I appreciate you so much for your time. Big thanks to all the new members here who signed up and are supporting the causes that we're supporting every single month. And you get access to all those emojis. And thank you, members, yesterday for the crowdsourcing of topics that we can talk about, because we're going to be talking about more of those things next week. Tomorrow is Friday. And you all know what that means. Friday, fun day. We're going to bring out the wheel. We're going to have some fun. Watch Your Mouth is on there, so I'm going to hopefully not land on that again. But we're going to play some fun games, answer some more questions, and give away some prizes as well. So that should be a lot of fun. Make sure you come up again for tomorrow. And with the 1 minute I have left remaining, I would, GTO, like you said, can you sum up the points quickly? I will do that. Number one, communicate and support. Communication and support from people around you. You need support, and you need to communicate with those around you who are going to see you and be around you doing this so that they know why, and you can have their support as well, or at least not get their negative support. Number two, you need to know what your number is so you know what you're striving toward, and you'll realize that you don't need $1 million business in order to live off of. What is that number, though? And you can reverse engineer from there. Number three, what's your why? What is the real reason why you want to get rid of this job or walk away from it or try something new? It's not because of the job. It's because of something else that you want. What is that? Number four, who is where you want to be? Find that mentor who has already paved that path, who can be an example and motivation for you and inspiration for you. Number five, pay yourself first with time, because time is really a really hard thing to come by when it comes to that 9 to 5. But if you open up your day, starting the day to yourself first, dedicating that time to yourself first, you're going to be a lot more creative. You're going to have a lot more energy for you versus just whatever reserves and fumes you have left over at the end of the day. Number seven, what actions should you be taking? So prioritization, understanding that purposefully you want to take action, not just take action to feel busy. Number eight, start fast, but start small. So number 9, get to failures faster. Iterate. Failure is a part of the process of getting started. Number 10 here, which I want to leave you with because we only hit 9, and that is to get your first customer. Get your first client ASAP. That's going to be your job. That's going to teach you so much more when you consider, okay, all actions to that first customer, that first client. It's going to teach you so much about what you like, dislike, how to work with people, and it's going to have a little petri-sized dish of an experiment versus, okay, let me build a thing and share it with thousands of people. No. Get one result first for somebody. It's going to change everything for you, especially up here. So chat, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow for Friday Fun Day. Make sure you come back. Here is where you want to go, patflynn.com/theincomestream. The other resource I shared was smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit. I appreciate you. Stephanie says we need those tips in a cheat sheet. So a cheat sheet would be really nice, a cheat sheet. And again, I appreciate you all for the support today. Great topic. Thank you, chat. Thank you, members. I appreciate you. And as always, Team Flynn for the win.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream, all while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
Hey, I appreciate you. You are amazing. Keep up the great work. Let's fail fast. Let's fail together, and let's win together as a result. And who knows, maybe my next book will be about just-in-time learning. You guys were excited about that. Thank you so much for the inspiration. Appreciate you. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace and love.
Bruh.